Hi, anybody home?
Hi, Kendall. Come on in.
I'm glad you came. We saw the room, and I've got a fabric sample to show you.
And I have some antique flower baskets that Mary Jo found that I want to show you. What's the matter?
Nothing. You just surprised me, taking my hand.
You mean because...
Yeah. In the hospital, even some of the nurses refused to come in my room.
Imogene, why don't you take that book over the counter, hon? I'll be over in just a second to write up the order.
I can't believe that. I mean, if hospital people are going to act that way, how can they expect the public to behave any better?
What I want to know is how'd you guys get so smart?
Well, we read.
Oh, and I went to see Julia's and my family doctor, and he told me that you can't get AIDS from touching anybody. You can only get it from sex, blood products, and shared needles.
I mean, it just stands to reason that if AIDS was airborne, that somebody would have gotten it that way by now.
I'll tell you something that makes me mad about the whole thing.
You about to get fired up?
Just a little. I was reading in yesterday's papers about all these Hollywood producers who are now going to depict people not sleeping around because of AIDS. What I want to know is, what was wrong with not sleeping around before AIDS? I mean, God forbid that anybody would be sexually discriminating because it's virtuous or loyal or classy. No. Now it's as if they found a whole new reason for people to have morals again.
Is that the boy whose funeral you're planning?
Where'd you hear that?
Well, I just heard the rumors, but I didn't actually believe it was true. Now, I don't like to hurt anyone's feelings, but if these boys hadn't been doing what they do, they wouldn't be getting what's coming to them now.
Imogene, gays aren't the only ones getting it.
No, but they're the ones who started it.
Actually, nobody knows how it got started. Gays are just one of the first groups that showed up in.
Yes, and for a good reason. You reap what you sow, and you boys brought this on yourselves. As far as I'm concerned, this disease has one thing going for it. It's killing all the right people.
Imogene, I'm terribly sorry. I'm going to have to ask you to move your car.
Why?
Because you're leaving.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about the only thing worse than all these people who never had any morals before AIDS are all you holier-than-thou types who think you're exempt from getting it.
Well, for your information, I am exempt. I hadn't lived like these people, and I don't care what you say, Julia Sugarbaker. I believe this is God's punishment for what they've done.
Oh, yeah? Then how come lesbians get it less?
That is not for me to say. I just know that these people are getting what they deserve.
Imogene, get serious. Who do you think you're talking to? I've known you for 27 years, and all I can say is, if God was giving out sexually transmitted diseases to people as a punishment for sinning, then you would be at the free clinic all the time. And so would the rest of us.
I think she makes a good point.
Oh, who cares what you think? You're not even all there.
Well, as long as we're on the subject, neither are you.
Well, you needn't look forward to any more of my business in this lifetime.
Wonderful. I'll close out your account. And another thing, my son has an A in chemistry. In fact, he's making all A's in everything, including PE.
What is going on, everybody? Fascinating graveyard on this beautiful cold morning, 35 degrees here in McLemoresville, Tennessee. Today we're at the McLemoresville Cemetery, and we're going to visit the grave of one of the TV stars of the 80s that I used to watch as a child growing up, and that, of course, is Dixie Carter. I know Dixie Carter as practically most of you know her from Designing Women, but also she did a couple other television shows, including Family Law, and she was on Desperate Housewives. I don't know if she was on there for a season or a few episodes, but she was nominated for a Primetime Emmy for, what was it, Best Supporting Actress in a Comedy Role, something along those lines. She also, guys, this confused me as a kid. All right, she played on Different Strokes. Right, she played on an episode. She played Philip Drummond's second wife. Now, when I've seen this episode, I turned around and I said, Mama, how come Julia Sugarbaker's on Different Strokes? And I don't remember what my mother said, but I'm sure it was mean. Anyway, so Dixie Carter was born here in Macklemoresville, Tennessee on May 25th, 1939, but she spent a good part of her childhood over in Memphis. A good-looking woman. She competed in a couple beauty pageants. She competed in the Miss Tennessee pageant where she was runner-up. Okay, let's see who won this. Mickey Weiland. Okay, all right, I can see that. But that same year, she would not be undone or outdone because she won Miss Volunteer. Volunteer is the name of the character, the mascot of the school, Tennessee Vols, Volunteers. I don't know the history about, I don't know why they call them volunteers. I gotta look that up. That would make a good video. That'd make a good video. Maybe Life with Aaron will make a video about why they call them the Volunteers. So, so Dixie, when she originally started acting, she was more of a play actress, right? She's more of a play actress. And then she ended up having a couple children, and she kind of sort of stepped out of the light of being an actress to raise her children. However, she would later come back and play in a couple TV shows, including CBS's The Edge of Night. Has anybody heard of that? The Edge of Night? Yeah, I never heard of that. I don't know what that is. Maybe I should go look it up. So, other than that, she played another couple television shows. On Our Own. Anybody? On Our Own? Does anybody know that one? I don't. And Filthy Rich. I probably should have looked up those television shows to see what they were. I just forgot. That's all, guys. I'm a wealth of information this morning, aren't I not? Aren't I not? Okay, so anyways, so let's move forward a little bit. Let's talk about Designing Women, because that show was pretty popular in its heyday. Now, of course, Designing Women starred, of course, Dixie Carter. But it also, I would assume that the biggest star of that TV show was Delta Burke, right? So you had Dixie Carter, Delta Burke, Annie Potts, and Gene Smart. And of course, Dixie Carter's real life husband, Hal Holbrook, who's an actor himself. He played on that show as well. Now, that show ran for about 7 seasons, from 1986 to 1993. And that show was very popular. So the premise of the show, a little confusing to an 8-year-old, but to a grown adult, not so much. So Dixie Carter played character Julia Sugarbaker, which, you know, she owned this. See, this is what I didn't get when I was a kid. So she owned a design firm, and the house where the TV show takes place in, she runs it out of her home. So in the show, she was like the owner of the design firm, and then Delta Burke was her sister, younger sister, right? And so Delta Burke on the show was kind of like this narcissistic, kind of like, I'm better than you and I'm smart. And, you know, and Delta Burke was very pretty herself. And so she was kind of like the main star of the show. And then Dixie Carter was like the kind of the whip cracking, Southern belle, take no nonsense type of guy. Gal. I meant gal. And then they had that black guy. Now listen. That guy, his name is Misach. Is it Misach Taylor? I'm not gonna lie. I thought that brother was gay because his character is a little bit effeminate. A little bit feminine. No, I thought he was a real life gay guy. I thought that Designing Women was like the kind of like the pioneers of getting the gay guys to be, you know, actors or whatever. No, I'm wrong. The brother wasn't gay in real life. No, he had a family. He tragically passed away from cancer in 2014. I could have sworn, man, because you know, sometimes I you know, when I'm editing videos, I'll put on old television shows from like the 80s, and I'll watch, you know, listen to Designing Women, and throughout the years, and I'm like, this guy's a little bit no, I guess that's just what the character was, but rest in peace to him, nonetheless. So, anyways, I think what people really remember Designing Women for was the craziness kind of that Delta Burke brought behind the scenes of that television show. It was kind of like a he said, she said thing. So what ended up happening was Delta Burke left this show after 5 seasons. She either left or they kicked her off. Maybe it was mutual, I don't know. But behind the scenes, Delta Burke was suffering from some form or another of mental illness, and I think the producers were just tired of it because she'd have like these mental breakdowns and stuff like that. And then Delta Burke, I know this video is not about Delta Burke, but she was a big part of the Designing Women. And Delta Burke, well, later, after leaving the show, she tried to have like success with her own television shows because, you know, producers, they believed that she was a big, huge TV star. But you know what they didn't realize was that she was an important cog of Designing Women. She wasn't a TV star like they thought she was. Right, so she ended up having a couple crash and burns, failures, and she no longer really acts anymore. She's like in the, what do you call it, out of the spotlight. By the way, did you guys know, I didn't know this, but did you know that Delta Burke is married to one of the Simons? Huh? One of the Simons. You remember that show, Simon and Simon? Do, 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 do. What was that? God, I hated that show when I was a kid. I was like, hurry up. I'd probably just turn to channel ABC. What was it, like a Playgirl model and a redneck? It was a weird show. I think they were detectives. I don't freaking know. But she's married to the redneck guy, or the guy that doesn't have blonde hair. Okay, so here we are. This is the grave of Dixie Virginia Carter. She's buried next to her husband, Hal Holbrook, who he just died a few years ago. Well, about 3 years ago. She died in Houston, Texas. Yeah, so even after she left Designing, because after Delta Burke left, and then I believe Jean Smart, she left the following season because, I don't know, she wanted to go take care of her children or whatever. And so after the two women left, especially Delta Burke, it wasn't the same anymore. You know what I mean? Like, it's just one of those TV shows. It's not the same anymore. And after 7 seasons, they canceled it because, well, Delta Burke left. That's really what it was. And then after that, Dixie, she played in, of course, Family Law for about 3 seasons, and then she had that role on Desperate Housewives. And yeah, that is but one of many television actresses that I used to watch as a child. So I imagine, yes, this is her parents. All right, guys, I am out of here. I'm going to jump back in my van. It's a little bit cold out here. A little bit. Rest in peace to Hal Holbrook, Dixie Carter, and her parents. All right, let's hit the road. We're going to Memphis, unfortunately. I ain't gonna lie. I don't want to go. I don't want to go to Memphis. I just don't. That's the worst city in the world. No offense to anybody that's from Memphis, but gee Louise, don't want to go. All right, guys, I'm out of here. Have a good one. Peace out.